for me, I'm in a profession of storytellers. We tell stories. Jesus is the parable teller. He engages people with stories. And I think that very frequently it's about bringing a twist to the story that isn't obvious. So, an example is, do you speak about the Blessed Virgin Mary, who everyone knows is the Blessed Virgin Mary, ever virgin? Or do you speak about a teenager pregnant without marriage, outside of marriage? And the way that you can engage a different audience, a different group, is by trying to push the boundaries and help people understand that there is diversity even where they don't see it. So for me, part of what we do in terms of storytelling is exactly engaging them. Most of the work that I do either in Africa or in Asia, where faith is a massive component of people's lives. Whether you are identifying with the faith community or not, many of your views and norms are set by the faith communities that you operate in or who operate in the space that you live. So part of what we try to do is to take texts which are sacred for people and help them understand that they can be read in a different way. A good example is the story of Ruth and Naomi. On the one hand, you would like to see Ruth as a refugee, a migrant, who journeys with Naomi to Bethlehem and there lives out her life. But the other side of that is that you can start seeing the love that exists between these two women and the way in which they are committed to each other and their declaration of love. Your people will be my people, your God will be my God. Wherever you go, I will go. Where you die, there I will die also. This deep declaration of love. So quite clearly, you're speaking about a story that's recorded in the Bible of same-gender love. Now, if you ask me whether Ruth and Naomi are having sex, it's not my business. But that these two women love each other is very, very clear. And so by being able to show to people that same-gender love is not condemned, but actually reported and celebrated, can give you a different dynamic to break into zones that people might be uncomfortable talking about. I'm not so strong on behavior change. I believe in behavior formation, and I believe that we have to be able to help people earlier on to make the right choices for themselves the first time around. And we can't do that if we don't give people enough information and give them the ability to make choices for themselves. So much of that is involved in doing work with youth before they make the decisions or before they are exposed to risk factors in their own lives. So I think that that's a clear way in, and we have to be able to make ourselves vulnerable by putting ourselves out and sharing our own stories of vulnerability. I'm very much into experiential learning. So, and what I mean by that is that I don't think that a teach-tell model of giving people information is useful at all. So in the workshops that we run, we have space for dialogue, we have space for group discussions, and we confront people with real-life stories and then ask them to talk about it. So for instance, when we engage in the SAFE Toolkit on discrimination, the story that we tell is the story of a young boy who's a very faithful member of a church in Cape Town, and when he goes to the pastor and says to him, I've got problems, I'm struggling with my sexuality, I think I'm gay, suddenly he's denied confirmation. Suddenly the Sunday school that he's working in, he's not allowed to work in anymore. And these are the realities of one man's life. And we get people to talk about it in a group and say, what is this? Is it discrimination? Why is he being discriminated against? Why is it that the pastor's son has put together a gang that beats up this boy? Where have we broken confidentiality? And so by talking through these issues, rather than telling people what they should think about it, giving them the opportunity to express their own opinions and allow the group dynamic to do the learning process.